Hi, everyone. It's Emil. It's Emil Guillermo. How are you? Emil, I'm up to you. It's Thursday. This is show 197. Can you believe that show one? But it's a good day to be listening to our show because this is the day that we declare the pro-democracy movement in America. It's come. It's come. If it hasn't already, there's going to be a vote in the New York City Council giving 800,000 non citizens the right to vote. It's important because about 117,000 of those newly eligible will be from China. And then there's everyone else who has a green card or a right to work in the United States who will be eligible to vote. Now, this is near and dear to my heart because my mom was 30 years a green card holder and never could vote until she became a citizen. She finally became a citizen when I was like in my 30s, and I celebrated with her. She did it for one reason. They were going to take away her benefits, her senior benefits. And she wanted to fight back. And the only way she could fight back and be heard, is if she became a citizen and voted. Voting, it is so essential. It is so important. And can you imagine? Only in some municipal elections in certain cities, San Francisco for school board, for example, some other cities around the country, but very few, do they allow non-citizens the right to vote. But here in New York City, now, New York City, the whole slate of municipal issues and officials, you get to vote on them. Not the feds. The feds are another thing, but maybe it's coming. Maybe it's coming because this is really, as I said, it's the pro-democracy movement in America. You have people in New York who understand you can't keep the people who you serve from the ballot box. You can't keep the people who are in the grassroots, you can't keep them from having their voices heard. So New York's smart. They're passing it. Mayor de Blasio can't do anything about it. It's veto proof. There might be challenges, but it should happen by June or July that non-citizens will be able to vote, be able to be a part of this democracy. You know, that's significant. The Statue of Liberty has got this broad smile because her torch means something now to all the people because now they have a voice. And it's just amazing that we've prevented that from happening for so long. I mean, it's not like people fly in, vote, and then fly out. No, you're a permanent resident. You have a right to work here, so you're going to stay a while. You have a stake in what's happening. So bravo to New York City. And really, it's the beginning of the pro-democracy movement because, in all these other places, Texas, Georgia, other states, they're trying to restrict voting rights. They're trying to make voting into essentially the eye of the needle, and they're trying to make the eye really, really smaller. How can they do that in a democracy? They say, well, we want to make we don't want to water down the citizens' rights. No, you don't water down the citizens' rights. You actually water down the people's rights. I mean, these are people. Forget this distinction of citizen, non-citizen. We're people. We're people in America. We deserve the franchise. We deserve the vote. Now, where we're served most directly, the grassroots, that's where it's important. The federal level, that's where the battle goes next. And just as in the red states are trying to restrict voting. Well, time to expand it. And I hope that this takes hold, not just in New York City, but throughout the country. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. The country is becoming more and more, shall we say, non-citizens, or, well, I mean, the reason this is happening is because of our population shifts. And just looking at the Asian American community, the green card holders in Flushing, I mean, they're looking forward to this because now they might have a representative at the table when they're talking about, hey, do something about these services that killed, when the rains came and flooded out that part of Flushing, Queens. People were killed. This is why people deserve the right to vote, non-citizens, because they aren't non-people. They're people. They're persons. They're more persons than the corporations that have person status. Give the people the right to vote. They're taxed. They live under the laws. They're penalized under the laws. They deserve a voice. They deserve a vote. So that's one good thing today on this pro-democracy comes to America Day. But the other good thing is that we have the Census Bureau releasing the 2021 list of jurisdictions that require Asian language assistance under the Voting Rights Act. They're limiting the Voting Rights Act. They shouldn't. I mean, there's moves to limit the Voting Rights Act. But one thing that is sacred to immigrants and to Asian Americans is that Section 203, which says, hey, if you have a language issue, if you have limited English speaking abilities, you deserve information in language. So this is what's happening. The new additions: Bangladeshi in Queens, Chinese, including Taiwanese in Philadelphia County, Pennsylvania, Filipino in Kodiak Island Borough, Alaska, in San Mateo County, California, and in Maui County, Filipino. That's now a new addition to the law. Hmong in Ramsey County, Minnesota, where Suni Lee's from, and Vietnamese in Sacramento County, California, Randolph-Town City in Massachusetts, and in Dallas. So all of this is happening because of the census. And if you don't understand or realize that you or your relative is also included because, of existing circumstances, because I just mentioned the new additions, but for example, in Alameda County, Chinese, including Taiwanese, Filipino, and Vietnamese, they all are covered under Section 203. If you want the complete list, go to ALDEF, AALDEF.org/blog. Check it out, and you'll get the information. So just one of the things about this pro-democracy idea is that, we got to let people vote. And once we let them vote, we got to give them the tools so they can make a mindful choice, an appropriate choice. They got to read the materials. They need materials. They need assistance. It's required by the law. The Voting Rights Act. The same Voting Rights Act that those same states like Texas and Georgia are fighting against, trying to limit. They're trying to limit your access to the franchise and trying to limit your access under the Voting Rights Act to Section 203. And what we're hoping to do is to expand our democracy. Hence, it's a pro-democracy movement in America. The kind of thing I was calling for in my ALDEF column. Read it at aaldef.org/blog. It's a big deal because we're coming under this era now where everything is under attack. Voting rights, civil rights, abortion rights. Just saw a story. They're calling California a new sanctuary state for abortion. I was joking around and saying, well, California will be a tourist state for abortion, come for the sourdough. stay for the abortion. But no, and that's become kind of code. If you call it abortion tourism, you're anti-abortion. But that's not. I was just joking. I'm pro-choice. But I just started hearing the stories come out, and now they're saying, "Hey, California is moving toward being an abortion sanctuary." This is a big deal because California already does, like, I believe it's like a third of its abortions are from out of state currently. But now it's going to just explode. There's going to be like 1 million people coming in. And the state isn't prepared. Planned Parenthood isn't prepared in the state. They're looking for proposals because if this fundamental right to choice is overturned by the Supreme Court, there's going to be some adjustments in life. And one of them is people will seek sanctuary in California. But this is what we have to look forward to because we haven't been voting or we haven't had the right to vote because you see, the only way to turn this around, the only way to preserve Roe v. Wade, or the only way to make sure that we have our voices heard is by doing the very basic thing in democracy, voting. So that's our pro-democracy show today. I'm recording this live or as live. You're going to see the repeat or it's going to go on at 2:00. I'm going off to San Francisco to talk about one of my favorite organizations, the Asian American Journalists Association. Because before AAJA, you could be the only Asian American in the room. And that's fundamentally one of the great things about AAJA. It brought journalists together in the same room as a voice. Not to say that there are some things that, aren't great about AAJA. I mean, they aren't perfect, but it exists, and it's 40 years in existence. And they've asked me to come talk about something. So I got to do that. So thank you for watching. Tomorrow we'll talk more about what New York is doing. They're voting on this Non-Citizens Voting Act on Thursday, today, and it should be a thing shortly. And like I said, there could be challenges, but it's the right thing for non-citizens to vote, just like my mom. So, as I like to say, be here, bang the gong now. We'll be back again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Catch our replays on amok.com. Read my columns on ALDEF, the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund. And if you've made it this far, you know when things go wrong. Just take a pause. If you feel like you don't belong, if you feel like this pang of unworthiness, hey, just give your elbows a hug. Your elbows, give them a hug. And remember, you belong. You're worthy. And just as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. And may you live with ease. Till next time. Emil Guillermo here. Mahal